Hey, how's it going? I don't know if this is gonna go out to YouTube, but I'm going to just continue working on the chapter 25, 18 I want. Mostly because I don't know. I gotta, you know, I don't know. Because of things that went on next door. Where my neighbor's smoke alarm went off, and that kind of freaked me out a little, so I'm a little bit weirded out by that. We did get, we got a new owner for the house, and on the same day that the owner and his wife came by to take a look at the house after they bought it, you know, kind of do like a walkthrough, see if anything needed to be fixed, and he brought his repair guy out. And the repair guy put a seal on a bottom seal on the door, inside door where the air conditioning unit is. And then maybe a couple hours later, I got a notice, like, the couple lives in California, and their contact is here in my town, and I guess that's probably a repair guy that she knows, because the repair guy lives, I think, here where I live, in this city. And let's see. I was like, I don't know why it takes me so long to find it. 1.5 inches, Tammy. It's like 1.5 inches. And so maybe a few hours later, I get a message from the real estate agent. I think it's a real estate agent. Says that the repair guy is going to come and install a fire extinguisher. And I didn't get that message. Well, I got it, but I got it later. Like, I answered the door. I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's going on here? And he goes, oh, you know, where should I put this? And I said, what is it? Because I didn't get the message until after, you know, I got the message. I just didn't check my messages. And I'm like, oh, so he put it in the kitchen. And I thought, oh, man. So now I'm like, that kind of freaked me out a little, too, because I've never been in an apartment that had a fire extinguisher in it. So maybe, yeah, that should be like the norm, I'm thinking, right? So the repair guy was telling me that, he goes, oh, you don't want to have it too close to your oven and stove area. You want to have it back a ways. So he put it on at the end of the kitchen area where the hallway is. There's like a post there, and he put it on there. Now I don't even really think about it, that it's there, but tonight I did when the smoke alarm went off next door. I was like, do you need this? I was like, I didn't go over there and say that, but I was like going back and forth to the front door and upstairs, and I'm thinking, what is that? Why is that going off? You know? So I thought, let's do this, you know, do a little crafting. Maybe I'll just fast forward through this or whatever. Throw it in before the last video's sign off. And that was my story time video. So I really have nothing more to say. Oh, there is one other stress that's gonna come up in October, and I usually get very nervous about it. It's when the boss comes to observe me. She is the most copacetic boss I've ever had in my life. She is awesome, and but I still get very nervous, you know. I'm already thinking, what am I going to be covering in October? In reading, I'm going to be covering main ideas, details, and argument. Argument is the same, very similar to main ideas and details, but it's actually a little bit easier to understand than main ideas and details. The main ideas covers both stated and implied main ideas. So this month I'm covering in reading vocabulary, using context clues to figure out unfamiliar words, and patterns of organization and the transitions that go with it. And that is a good segue to supporting details. So I talk about supporting details. Also, they have a test at the end of this month, and toward the end of October they have another test, and toward the end of November they have a third textbook test. And each of those tests covers, well, test 2 covers 4 chapters, but test 1 and 3 only cover 3 chapters. Only 3. Only 3 chapters are covered yet. So then November is testing month. So the students, my reading students and my writing students, but not my integrated reading and writing students. So only reading, only writing take the TSIA, and they take it for free. And big perks if they pass it. Big kudos, because the hard test, especially the reading, is very hard. Okay, so not totally... When I do that, I know I'm chopping extra paper. Where'd it go? Oh, that was almost right on the money there. A little bit off on this side. Also, what I did here, in case this video is a separate video, is I put chapstick on the rings, on the inner and outer part of the rings, and it helps the pages better. It helps them flow better, way better. Before they were sticking, and I thought, what's going on with that? But, so that's a good idea. Am I done with this chapter? Subject-verb agreement is not very long. As a matter of fact, I only have one more sheet to do, so I'm gonna do that sheet. I only need 3 inches. And we'll see, watch a few videos, do some reading, get myself to calm down. I hope my neighbors don't set off any more alarms. Wrong. Oh, let's do this one. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they were freaking out, too. I need 3 inches, Tammy. It seems like it's, uh-oh. No, there's no cat coming. The uh-oh is I dropped my tape tab. No, not my tape tab. I found it. No, did I really? Yay, it's all hairy. Guess I'll be sweeping in a bit. Okay. One more page. Last weekend when I did the video for reinforcing these holes, I don't know if I did a separate video or not, but I also added a little cushion to these levers here, because I don't know what you can see it. Maybe if I get my hand out of the way. I took fabric tape and I wrapped it around these little levers, because they, on the outside, they're very sharp. They were actually hurting my fingers trying to close the rings. And I don't want to do this because doing this, like closing it this way, a lot of people close it that way, and I used to too. I used to also. And that actually makes these ring connectors crooked so that they don't meet and match. So no more of that. I'll have to tell my students. I tell them to buy a 2-inch binder for this. So you can throw paper in there for notes and whatnot. Also, I was telling them, you know, because most of my students, whether they're in reading or writing or even in integrated reading and writing, most of them hate to read. And they'll do pretty much everything in their power to not read. Try and get away from, without reading. Did that make any sense? I don't know. We'll see. If you only do one, the little thing stays behind. Hey, I want that. I'll put it over here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now, illogical shifts. No, we're not covering that. So, what was I saying about the reading and writing? They don't want to read. And so I was telling my students, actually these chapters are very easy to read because, like for subject-verb agreement, for example, you have a little bit of information to read and then some examples and maybe a word box that you might need to pay attention to, and then maybe a practice, and then another little paragraph, an example, or 2 or 3 or 4. And then a practice, you know. And so it kind of breaks up the reading, and it's not one paragraph after another, after another, after another. Unlike the history textbook that I'm reading, that my INRW students have to read for their history class, that has pictures in it, but in my opinion, not as many as I'd like it to have. so when I was at the dealership waiting for the diagnosis about my vehicle, I was reading chapter 1 of the history book. And the history book is an open source book, and it's free for anybody who wants to read it. Cool. It's from Rice University. So that's even better. That's it. Okay, I'll sign off. Watch some crafting videos. Play some games to wind down, and I don't know why I'm not sleepy. I mean, I was sleepy all day. Okay. Let's see what it is. I can't look. I can't look. Don't make me look. Oh, I'm gonna put it over here. Have a salubrious day. You know, that's been appearing a lot too. Maybe it's time to swap out the adjectives. Salubrious. I like that word.